Okay, we're back and another W on the board. This is probably one of the toughest games you've had to coach the entire year, and so we'll talk a little bit about that. I do want to just start out with how I was impressed with how many people that they still had out on the team, how many people they had in the band, how many cheerleaders they had. They at U.S. Grant, they offered the full Friday night experience for their students, and I really hope continued success as they continue to grow their programs and pick up.
Yeah, absolutely. Just like I said last week, I have a tremendous amount of respect for Coach Levacy and and his staff and his kids. They continue to show up every day. Play hard. They're coached well, line up correctly. And have just utmost respect for them and their program. Because again, to me, that's real toughness. It's tough to go, show up and Choctaw's coming to town. And you continue to show up and put together a product and try hard and to continue to coach and all those kind of things. My hat's off to the U.S. Grant Generals. Did a great job. Kids played extremely hard. Behaved very well. Show good sportsmanship. All the things. And that's tough to do. And so our kids and coaches just have a ton of respect for those guys.
Okay. Well, as we saw a lot of players, and so let's start off on offense. Of course, we started with our starters because you have to play your starters because, again, with your 1-0 philosophy, those starters need to go 1-0.
Well, yeah, it is. You're trying to go 1-0 each week, and it is tough, because obviously, you want to make sure that you can play a lot of guys, but the overarching goal is to get better each week,
right.
And to do that, you have to play football. It's live reps, and so. I think our starters played, 2 series or whatever during the game. But again, you want to get in there and get some live action because if not, another week goes by, and then all of a sudden you're gonna, maybe play, someone that's maybe a little higher caliber of an opponent, and you're not prepared, So you have to make sure you stay fresh, and we try to do that through a number of ways in practice and all those kind of things. But jumping back to your original question, player of the game, offensively was a guy that you could give it to each and every week. He's kind of an unsung hero of the offense. He's the only two-way starter that we have on the entire team. Fastest kid on the team and one of the fastest players in the state, and that's Nathan Kiefer.
Okay, yeah, no, I can see that. I can see that.
And Nathan, you give it to him every single week, and he does so many things behind the scenes that may not show up on a stat sheet. Just from getting people lined up to blocking to setting up other guys by maybe taking the top off of a route concept, and just does every single thing to the best of his ability, and just an absolute champion of a human being. In person, and so we're super, super proud to give it to Nathan Kiefer.
Okay. I had a real hard time. I don't have the stat sheet for sure, and we were kind of scrambling to make sure we got people's names, and I'm sure we butchered some people's names. And we were just scrambling to make sure we got, just trying to give credit for people making plays and all that kind of stuff. So I didn't really have maybe the player of the game to me was Buzz.
Yeah. Buzzy came in, freshman.
Yeah.
Came in and didn't look like a freshman, able to operate the offense, spread the ball around. Did a really, really good job of just, controlling the offense, controlling the game against 6A opponent, you may look at their record and be like, maybe underwhelmed, but you see kids in person, they have some kids that can play. They have some good players, some kids that can run and hit, and so there was some real competition out there for sure. And so he did a great job.
Well, I know you as a coach have seen this, but sometimes you don't want any contact during practice, and so you run an offense on air. Well, I've seen an offense on air that I've coached do 4 and out, where they're miscommunicating.
We say that. That's kind of, I'm sure. Luckily, I haven't had to say it much this year.
Sure.
I say that where my phrase is, I refuse to punt versus air.
Yeah.
We have to build a complete A pass. On air, and as you mentioned, sometimes a little bit more difficult than others.
But it's fun to me to see that leadership where he could get that together. Absolutely. On a Friday night. And so again, sometimes I like to look at, and we're about to talk about the seniors, but I like to look at who's coming up because, again, the high school, all high school football is about the development, and of course. At Choctaw, the development starts very, very young age and goes through middle school and goes through high school. where you're not only developing players, but you're hopefully developing members of the community that know how to respect each other and respect themselves.
You know, and a little known fact kind of like that is, you know, our INFC, you know, football teams obviously connect, you know, with the high school completely, and you know, so really we started in first grade. You know, Those guys run the same system from first grade on up, and so, you know, get to middle school, it's just the same old same. And you know, side note, we've had a division winner, you know, in first through sixth grade for the last 2 years. You know, and that goes around the state. You know, so it's pretty cool. So guys are winning, you know, in first grade on up, winning in middle school, obviously winning in high school, all that, and that's kind of cool just to watch those guys continue to develop what we call growing up gold, you know, all the way through. But yeah, those guys did a great job. You know, as you mentioned Buzz, another guy that I thought did a great job on offense as well, Brody Clifton. Brody Clifton had an interception on defense, had multiple receptions on offense, and just did a tremendous job. Another guy that, you know, was on special teams a lot and got to kind of like show his skill sets on Friday, and it's fun to watch him. Great teammate, runs scout team every day, does whatever's asked of him, plays part-time quarterback sometimes as well on Mondays, and just does a really, really good job.
And just to go back onto your IFC, is that what it's called?
INFC, Indian Nations Football Conference.
Okay. You also have some of your coaches are also high school football players, right?
Yeah. So we have multiple coaches' kids that play in the INFC. You know, and just had multiple playoff games here this week, you know, and guys advancing on to the quarterfinals and stuff like that. And, you know, like, I know this is a high school football show, but it's pretty cool because it's structured just like high school, you know, where you have first round, second round, third round, and state championship. You know, neutral site, the full deal. You play on the high school field, you know, with like, you know, all the things. And so, we have multiple. And we also have multiple of our kids that coach those teams.
Yeah.
And so, like, our high school athletes go and coach the younger kids and are super heavily involved in it, you know. So it's really cool, you know. So you'll have, you know, if you have a sixth grade team, for example, playing, I mean, you may have 30 players, you know, out there like there to watch them, you know, because they know those kids, you know, real well, and the kids know them real well. So it's kind of a cool little deal.
Yeah, it's a nice kind of family little setup, and of course, you know.
We talk about planting trees you never see grow, you know, and our older guys do that, you know, and they had a little seed planted on them when they were young, you know, and got to grow up, and then now it's their turn, you know, for the next generation to go and mentor them, and they do a tremendous job of that.
Well, and, you know, you're also, it does so many things, and we're so off on a tangent, but like, I never made a dime playing professional football. But I made some money coaching football, and so a lot of these guys coming out of high school, they might be the future superstar coaches.
Yeah, we have a lot of guys that you know are about to graduate and, you know, try to get on staff.
So
the guys that we've had in our program that, you know, they have, and a lot of that's just because of the amount of pride that they have in the program, because they know about the blood and sweat and tears they put, you know, into the program, and, you know, left their mark. And you know, we talk about leave your legacy, you know, and they have, and they're proud of it, and that's really cool. It's very fulfilling to me as a coach, you know, as you continue to age and get older, it's nice to have those guys coming back and, you know, potentially get on staff and all that. It's really cool.
Okay. So I talked a lot about that, but that's a neat thing about the program.
It is, and a lot of people don't know that. It's really, really cool. Yeah, it's a super tight-knit group.
And so we saw a lot of that development. We saw a lot of that sportsmanship this week. You know, let's go on and talk about defense here and how our defense played.
Defense played well. Obviously, holding them to shutout, that's good. You know, not very many explosive plays, which is what we kind of wanted. You know, defense players of the game was Tariq Knighton was one defense player of the game, and the second was Jeremiah Miles. And so Jeremiah Miles is the kid we call Thumper. He plays scout team every single day. He's been the scout team player of the week multiple times. And it was kind of cool to see him get to be, you know, varsity defense player of the week. And you know, and I got one more here on special teams that's similar to that. But I was, you know, I tell our kids, it's amazing to me, you know, and I'm being facetious obviously, but like, you get scout team player of the week almost every week, you know, and then you get your chance in a varsity game, and then you're player of the game. You know, it's like, well, you know, he's been doing it in practice. Right. And so then when he gets his opportunity in a game, you know, it's really cool. And, you know, and obviously the older guys love seeing that. You know, and get excited too, because they know how hard this guy works every day. So it's very cool.
And I'm going to be cheesy on this one. I'm going to give the whole defense, because of self-control, but also not being weak.
Yeah.
Okay, because they were going full speed.
Yeah.
But you could see sometimes, like, and especially when you're hungry, you know, linebacker or somebody, like, I can make this guy fly out of bounds. Like, I literally can hit him so hard, the ball's going to fly off and he's going to fly out of bounds.
Yeah.
But they clean, stopping at the whistle. speaks a lot to self-control.
Right.
Speaks a lot to the respect that they have for the players on the field.
Well, we talked about
and
that all week.
themselves.
Absolutely, we talked about it all week, and that's difficult to do, as you mentioned. Like we want, obviously, our goal is to win the game. That's the contest, right? Like there's a winner and there's a loser, and you want to win the game. But our kids and coaches, had no desire to humiliate, to disrespect, or endanger any other kid, on the other team. They want to do their job. Right to the, I guess bare minimum, if you will, and move on. Because like I said, we have a lot of respect for those guys. Appreciate what they do, appreciate their coaching staff, appreciate their kids. And our kids want to show them that respect because they recognize that's difficult to do.
Right. And I think this speaks to the gold standards you guys preach.
Absolutely.
I think a lot of our guys felt that gratitude for the program and the facilities and what their opportunities are here.
There's just so many different types of toughness, and I feel like those kids, just the toughness, and talking about U.S. Grant, the toughness that those kids have, like they love football. They're out there because they love football. The coaches coach because they love the game. They know that game's probably, not going to have the outcome that they want, but they showed up anyways. And I feel like in 2024, it's like, if I don't win, then I quit. And it's like, well, these are people that still have, some mental toughness about them that will show up regardless of the outcome and continue to put in the work. Because again, like the win is actually in life on down the road.
Right, right.
I mean? And like, we talk about do hard things, do things that are difficult, right? And that's a difficult thing to do for them to show up and compete. And that's why, my hat's off to them. And I think we need more of that in 2024. And I know those are values I preach to my own personal kids. Go and I need you, especially when things are in doubt. I need you, especially when things are hard, right? And you may not win, right? You don't always win, but it's like, will you get back up the next day and continue the process of improvement? And that's ultimately what life's about. And so, again, tremendous amount of respect for those guys.
Well, yeah, again, only one team is going to end
a
winner.
100%.
And so
that's it. And so, I always laugh. I'm like, so that's not real life. You know what I mean? Like you have to get back up, especially when things are difficult, because as an adult that like most days, like you're going to probably almost have more difficult things happen than the great things, right? And so it's like, will you continue to work, or are you just going to quit and give up? As soon as something doesn't go your way, you're done. Well, it's like that's not what we preach, and I tell our guys, obviously, once you have a big win, obviously I'm happy for our kids. I love our kids. I want them to have the success that they have earned.
Right.
But it's also like, I tell them all the time, would our process change today if the outcome would not have been favorable? And the answer is no. Like you're going to continue, you're going to show up, you're going to watch film, you're going to lift weights, you're going to sprint on the track, and you're going to practice, period. Right? And obviously you may tweak that schedule or whatever that may be, but the process isn't going to change.
Right.
Meaning that, once you win, you're not going to crown yourself a champion for life and give up and quit working. And if you lose, you're not going to quit and sulk and curl up in the fetal position and, and waste away. You know what I mean? Like you are always a work in progress. Your best days are always ahead, and we're always trying to get better each and every day, regardless of the outcome. And I feel like that's what's lost on society.
Well, and again, as just an adult, just as a regular old adult, my whole character is defined by my hard days, not the number of days.
1,000,000%.
I went to Disney World.
100%.
I would prefer to go to Disney World
100%
every day, but the hard days are what makes me who I am.
Absolutely.
And so,
right. No, you hit it spot on. And that's it. Like, how do you respond in times of adversity, right? Not in triumph. That's what defines you as a man. And we preach that to our kids all the time. Like, I need you when it's tough, right? I need you on the hard days. Right, because again, that's when the champion really emerges, and sometimes you have to get forged in that flame, to be able to fortify yourself to be the blade that you need to be of a sword as you get older. And it's like you don't get that, through easy times. And so, again, that's my soapbox. I feel like 2024 that's lost on some guys, but like, man, I want my kids, my own personal kids, I want them in hard situations. I want them in tough places. I want them to have to dig themselves out, because that's what builds the character, builds to do it in life. I don't come rescue them. I want them to figure it out themselves.
And this is the perfect coaching show to go through that, because I think that's more. I'm not going to put a lot of highlights on this coaching show, because I kind of want the story to be told just in the film and not just highlight a bunch of things.
Yeah, absolutely.
If there's one or two that you really want on, I'll look them up. But I try to keep it light. Plus, it's a short week.
Yep.
I before we move on to my last subject, I want you to tell me about special teams player of the game.
Yep.
and practice player of the game.
Yeah, special teams player of the game. We had two. So we had Trevor Henning, which is also a scout team player of the week regular. Does a great job alongside Jeremiah Miles. They're kind of like the Crash brothers at inside backer.
I like that, Crash brothers.
I mean, our offensive line is really good.
Okay.
And they get the run of it sometimes, with their offensive line, but they pop right back up, do it again and again and again. So Trevor recovered a big onside kick. Well, it wasn't an onside kick, a big kick on the ground that was deep that they did misfielded. And then our other one was Kentrell Gaddis, and so Kentrell Gaddis was a freshman. So nice to see him kind of come on the scene, and you saw him at running back with the touchdown, and then also on kickoff had 4 tackles on kickoff as well. Flew down, made some plays. And just actually picked up a Division I offer from it. So as a freshman, so pretty cool deal. But those were our two special teams players of the game. And again, the whole team gets excited with Jeremiah Miles and Trevor Henning because they know those guys. If there's a scout team, those guys are on it every single week. And it's cool to see them get like I mentioned previously, not only scout team player of the week in previous weeks, but also now special teams player of the week and defensive player of the week. Pretty cool.
Well, that's a perfect example. It's not how many minutes you play; it's how you play your minutes.
Absolutely, and but like I keep stressing, they play like that every day in practice. So when you put them in the game against another varsity opponent, it's just like the same thing you do every day. I don't need to play up to my opponent. I get to do it every single day against a really good offense and a really good defense, and so it prepares you. And they do hard things, both those guys.
Practice prepares you for the real thing.
Who would think?
We should put
Who would have thought? Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so great. So now we're going to transition. We talked all about character, all that stuff, and then we're transitioning my favorite bittersweet night of the entire season, senior night.
Absolutely.
We got a football to play. We got senior night. Tell me about how we prepare for senior night. Do we do anything different?
Yeah, I mean, it's really just time wise is the only difference. I mean, the only thing obviously with that week is you stress to the seniors and I stress to the underclassmen to honor the seniors tonight. Go play for the seniors. The 9th, 10th, 11th graders play for the seniors. And it really is about them. And our kids take that to heart. Because they know the amount of sacrifice these guys have put in. I've been here since these little guys were in 5th grade. These seniors, and I talked to them when they were right before their freshman year and told them I think they'll have a chance to be the winningest class to ever come through Choctaw. And it looks like that's going to come to fruition. So very, very deep class, very, very great kids, high character kids. Super athletic, bought in Choctaw guys that through and through, and just have bled a lot for the program. And we're gonna miss those guys, and they'll hit you sometimes in the team room and hit you out of practice. You're like, man, I'm gonna miss these guys. It's a very, very special group of kids, very, very special class. And it does make you sad. And I tell these seniors, like, if we're in the NFL, I'd sign them to a franchise tag.
Right. Yeah.
I'd take them every year. But you only get them for 4. And so it is sad. I got a little bit choked up on Friday. With U.S. Grant, 'cause you look out and you're like, man, it's easy to go, next game. But I really just wanted to enjoy the moment. Just being able to laugh and smile with them and visit with them on the sidelines, because obviously they're going to go on and do great things in life, and we'll still be here.
Right.
And I want them to experience the highest of the highs. Before they leave. But it's a tremendous class of kids. Just very, very blessed to coach them. We want to make sure that we send them out, the right way. And I tell them that obviously tonight, and we take care of business and we get one more home game, but that's it. We have 2 more home games. And like the song goes, it's like next time you go, you'll have to pay to get in. And that's kind of a stark reality to some of them, but we know as adults that's what it is, and
right.
Those guys have done so much for our program, and that's really the big selling point to our team is, man, honor those guys tonight.
And so and it's a great thing, and it's one thing that every organization here has a senior night, so we can all relate to each other's senior nights, because at the end of it, they're released to the world,
right?
And whatever we've given them, they have. And,
absolutely.
I still see some of the kids I coach, and they're not kids. I've been retired for a long time.
Well, that's cool.
But I still see them, come back, and
I love seeing our former players on the sidelines. Each Friday home game and all that, and that's a lot of fun for us, and it's cool. And we point those guys out on film because a lot of those guys, they still get excited, and the reason is because they know what they put into this program.
Right.
They know how much hard work, and so they want to see that torch continued. on down the road. And when I related to a sprint race with the baton. I'm like, man, if you've had the baton handed to you almost at the finish line, like, you better go finish it. Because a lot of guys have done a lot of hard work to get it to this point.
And that's I think the attitude that most of the seniors have is that they have built this and they're handing it off, and they don't want to see it. Oh man, those guys are terrible.
Right.
If we were back there, we'd be good. No, they
No, absolutely. We have a lot of pride in
We're
it.
leaving you here. We want you to move it forward.
We talk about having a great program, not a great team.
Yeah.
You don't want to have a great team. You want to have a great program. Great program is successful every year. We've been able to do that. Because of kids like you're mentioning that have just continued to make the program better each and every year.
So we do have a football game to play, and it is Lawton. A lot of the Lawton schools may be down right now, but they still got some guys. And I know that I've been looking at little Lawton Ike. They have two incredible athletes for sure.
Two Division I guys with big time SEC offers, and very very elusive. Well coached, play hard, very athletic, as you mentioned. We'll have our hands full. We tell our guys hey, this is going to be a tough fight. I mean, these guys give everybody all that they want. Stillwater, Piedmont. Obviously beat Southmore.
Yep.
Very good teams, well coached, plays hard, and can light you up in a hurry. And so if you're not on your game, those guys can rattle off scores lightning fast. And also can hit you in the mouth on defense and put you negative chains and all that kind of stuff, and get you behind the 8 ball really really quickly if you don't come to play. And so I tell our guys this week, it's time to wake back up. We gotta get rolling again. And continue to get better, because ultimately this is a playoff style of a game, and against a really quality opponent. Your last game, regular season game at home, and it's time to get rolling.
Yeah, I mean, the danger of this game is lack of focus and not being prepared to play a whole game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you might have to play a whole game.
Those are the traps, absolutely.
Because I've seen them, mistakes. They will make you pay for mistakes. Because that's what pure athleticism will always make you pay for mistakes.
Yeah, and they have a lot of speed for sure.
So I'm excited about this. The Eisenhower historic program, and again they're scrappy, and this will be an exciting evening with senior night, and we're going to get all kinds of, hopefully all seniors on the field, and hopefully everybody that deserves to be on that field. But of course we got to win the game.
Yeah,
so
we got a game to play.
We got to secure that district championship. So I don't have a lot more to say about this. I felt we really talked a lot about the team going forward, and I look forward to talking to you after this game for our final home game.
Oh wow!
Not final home game, final game of the season.
Yes, next week.
This is our final home game.
Final regular season, luckily.
Yep. All right. So until next week, stay golden.